please just.
Let's go ahead. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Dare County Board of Elections. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd. We started a little late with some technical problems. We hope you can hear our meeting well. We're going to go ahead. And I'd like everyone to please join me with a Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thank you all. Our first item under our agenda today is old business. And what I'd like to do is just mention that our last meeting, we had looked at the opportunity that the legislature had extended to give feedback on legislation that is currently being studied, one in committee and the other one is being passed, I believe, at this point from the Senate to the House. And there were changes in some of the election laws and some of the processes and the makeup of the board and so on and so forth. And I asked the board members if they had any commentary that they wanted to pass along to me, that I would compose a letter on behalf of the board and then have a letter for you to review today. Two things have happened since then. First of all, I didn't get any concern from our board, and easy to understand. Our staff had no qualms about the legislation about to be passed, and if I can speak for everyone, I think everyone is falling behind staff's opinion, because in some of the things that actually affect us, they're the ones who have the greatest insight on how they would affect us. So we stayed with the staff on that, and we appreciate your feedback. If anybody has any other input they want to pass along, please feel free to do it. And, you know, I'll pass your concerns along if need be. So the board evidently is not wishing to give that feedback. I'm fine with that. I just wanted to go back and let you know that we hadn't done anything for that on purpose. Okay. The next item on the agenda under new business now is the approval of the minutes for our last meeting, July 18th, 2023. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Yes, I have one.
Your name.
In the minutes, it identifies John Clark as being in attendance, and I believe that was in reference to myself,
Yeah.
John Carter.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear that? Okay. And that was the only thing that I saw myself. Ken, did you have anything? Okay. Then I'd like a motion to approve the minutes as corrected by John Carter.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting with the amendment.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes with that one correction. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
And I would like to just. Thank you. And I would like to just express my appreciation to Randy Finninger for taking the minutes and typing them up last time. I had an elbow injury and was not able to do that. So I very much appreciate Randy Finninger doing that.
I just want to say that I can make that correction prior to your departure, Aida, so you can sign those minutes, and we can just get a clean copy, and you can sign them.
If I can remember, I'll definitely stick around to do that.
Well, we've got other business afterwards, so we got time.
The next item on our agenda is discussion of the November 7th, 2023 absentee meeting time. And these, for edification of anyone who's listening, these are meetings that we hold prior to Election Day, we usually have 5 regular absentee meetings, and then we have another pre-Election Day absentee meeting before Election Day. And when we do this, what we do is we review the absentee ballots that are sent by mail. And the board handles and looks at every single envelope to make sure that those who sent in their ballots followed the protocols in terms of the witness signatures or a notary public. And we look at signatures, make sure they match and they're signed in the correct places and so forth. We don't open the ballot. Staff does that and feeds that into a tabulator that's set up specifically for absentee ballots, as if it was a precinct. So that's what that's about.
If I may make a correction, Mr. Chairman, you indicated that the board matches signatures. The board does not match signatures.
Yes.
And the board does open the envelopes for tabulation.
We just open them, but we don't feed them into the tabulator.
Staff does that. Yes.
That's right.
And I also would like to add that I provided the board with a copy of the meeting times that have been entered into on our website, and they are entered in with the statute required time of 5 p.m. And in the past, the board has elected to have an earlier time for absentee meetings, so that's the only reason why I provided that and included this on the agenda. I didn't know if it was the pleasure of board to have an earlier time to review the absentee ballots, or if you wanted to stay with the statutory requirement of the 5 p.m. So that's why that was on the agenda for the board's consideration.
Thanks, Jackie, and thanks for your corrections on what I said. So this is really about absentee time, and it's all right for us to have it earlier. We just have to have it by 5. And I think one of the reasons we chose to do it earlier last time was so that staff would have more time, you know, to take in the ballots and, you know, have everything accounted for. I'd like to have a motion first so we can open up discussion on this for a time.
I move, sorry, we got a new sound system here. I make a motion that we change the time of the absentee board meetings before Election Day to,
Well, this is for all of the absentee meetings, not just the election day.
right, that was part of, that's what I just said. I said I'd like to make a motion that we change the time of all of the absentee board meetings before Election Day. There is a separate one on Election Day, but that's not included in this motion. So I'd like to make a motion that we change the time of all of the pre-Election Day absentee board meetings from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m., but that is subject to a friendly amendment.
Yeah.
But at least that's a motion.
All right, it's been moved to have all the absentee ballot pre-election meetings from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. By Aida. Is there any discussion? Or would you, I'd like a second on that, maybe. Let's do a second on that, Ken. All right, is there any discussion on time?
Second motion.
What's that? Oh, did you get it?
Ken Bucantis just seconded my motion.
All right. Discussion.
The reason I said it for 3 was Ken was whispering that in my ear, but then I saw an unhappy look on Kelly's face. Would you all prefer a different time?
I was just confused as why you would keep the election day absentee meeting at the later time. We start having numbers rolling in and poll workers calling, so if you had a meeting at 5 o'clock,
I wasn't planning to keep that at a separate time. I just
Okay.
thought it might need a separate motion.
okay, that
because
was,
it's
that
election
was my
day.
unhappy look, was worried
okay.
that 5 o'clock meeting really runs into time when we need to be in the office.
Well, I was thinking that for Election Day, we need to go with whatever is easiest for staff.
Okay, that was
Because
my-
you know your schedule on that day, but I thought it might be different from all the other meetings.
Okay.
So I thought I'd deal with it in a
Yeah,
separate motion.
no, but the other time was fine with me, the 3 o'clocks.
Would it be better to have it in the morning, like at 10 or 11? So.
No, it's better to
Okay.
have it, if you're going to have it at a different time other than the statutory requirement of 5 o'clock, it would be better to have it earlier in the afternoon. I think in the past, we've done 2, in the past, we've also done 3. So whatever is the board's pleasure before 5 is great. And, yeah, because on election day, we have the precincts calling in numbers periodically throughout the day
Right.
so that we can have the reconciliation throughout the day. And 10, 2, and 4 are the times that they call in. So 3 o'clock would work great.
All right.
Are there any other comments or discussion? No? All right, so it's been moved and seconded to alter the time for the pre-election absentee meetings from 5 PM as designated by general statute to 3 PM. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. All right, so.
I'd like to make a second motion,
All right.
Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that the Election Day meeting on November 7th, which I believe is not even on this calendar, also be held at 3 PM if that is what staff would like. And that is my motion.
I'll second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to designate our absentee meeting on Election Day also at 3 PM. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Thank you, you all. My remarks basically were what I said, and, the things that I have prepared to talk about were related to the old business mostly. And just as a segue to Jackie's director's report, I do want to say with regret, I was signed up for the Board of Elections conference last week and had health problems on the way, so I wasn't able to attend. So I'm sorry, because I was looking forward to that and coming back and sharing what I found out with anyone who couldn't attend. So I hear it was a very good conference. So Jackie, do you want to go ahead? I don't have any other things that I write there on my remarks.
I don't have a lot today for my director's report, but Kelly and I did, as the chairman just said, attended the 2-day conference in Concord last week. It was one of the better conferences, I think. Both Kelly and I were of that opinion, that it was one of the better conferences that we've attended since we've been working in the elections office. It was a very big conference. There was probably 700-plus people in attendance. Many of them were board members. There were they asked board members to raise their hand, and I'd say half of them were board members. I mean, it was a lot of board members present. Some were new, and there were many that were veterans. We actually sat in one session at a table with, I forget what the county was, but one of the ladies that was sitting there, she was, had been on their board for 18 years. So they provided a lot of focus this time on the legal duties of, board members, the open meeting laws, absentee board meeting processes, and the responsibilities of the board. They had various breakout groups for, that you could attend. They discussed a little bit of the photo ID stuff that we already have information on, and talked about the reasonable resemblance that the precinct officials will be determining when someone comes in to vote and they have to show their ID, that they are to make it's just a reasonable resemblance that they're looking for. And they went into, saying that making that reasonable resemblance, you cannot ask someone to, remove their hat or, just a whole gamut of stuff, which we will train our precinct officials on when we start doing our training. The ballot proofing for the municipal election, we completed that. Actually, the last step was done this weekend. So the ballots have been proofed, and they are in the hands of the coders. The coders have coded them, and now we're just waiting to place our order, and then they'll be coming in, and we'll be ready when it's time to start sending out our ballots by mail. As I said earlier, I told the board, I went ahead and put those meeting times in our website, so now I'll go back and revise those times and make the 3 p.m. time on our website so that anyone that visits the website, they'll be able to see those meeting times. Last Thursday, the General Assembly passed Senate Bill 747, and that bill will make various changes to the election process, including staffing, early voting, same-day registration, the observer regulations, election record retention, absentee ballot processing, a whole gamut of different processes that we do. That bill will have an effect, but they also said that the bill has been sent to the governor, and he may veto it. We don't know what the action's going to be. If he does, in which case the House and the Senate may hold a vote to attempt to override a veto. The state says that they will keep us posted on the next steps, and if the bill ultimately becomes law, nearly all of its provisions will go into effect at the beginning of 2024. It won't have any effect on the upcoming municipal, so no changes would take place for the current election. And that's basically all I have.
Jackie, have you all had any more interviews for help for our office?
No, we have not put the posting back up yet.
Oh, okay.
We need to make some, I think we need to make some revisions to the description, and we have to go through HR to do that.
Okay, so you're working with them on that ultimately?
Yeah, and we're not really pressed for that for the muni, but we are going to be looking at that, because for the muni, it's a little slower than getting ready for the larger primary or general election.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. Are we still waiting for guidance from the state board on anything, or have they pretty much made their decisions? It sounds like photo ID, they've made all their decisions, but what about the felons?
All that
that's-
is in place. We
that's-
don't have
okay.
any new changes with that
They didn't-
as of now.
Okay, I'm just wondering, at the conference, did they say anything like, you'll be hearing from us soon about this? You know, is there
No.
anything that's still coming down the pike?
No.
So they're, okay. All right, great.
At the conference, they basically touched on everything that we've already been made aware of. They
Okay.
just, re-emphasized and refreshed that information. It wasn't anything new.
And I have another question.
Anything new, Kelly? Yeah, there wasn't anything new. Everything that they went over was stuff that we've already had and we already know about. We already have, the information posted on our website, information posted in our office. Wasn't anything different than what we already know.
And my other question is the photo ID machine up and running, and has anybody approached you all
Photo
about?
ID has been up and running for a couple of weeks, and we
Okay.
have not had anybody inquire about a photo ID. And yes, Mr. Ken, you can get a new one.
Just for my own information, I mean, I have a driver's license and I have a photo ID, but if I wanted to get a voter ID, can I just walk in and get one?
You can come into our office. There is a form that has to be completed.
Okay.
And once that form is completed, then we can process basically it's an application for a voter photo ID.
Okay. So
And
I
it
can
is
get
different.
one even if I don't need it?
Yes, you can get one even if you don't need
Okay,
it. And
all
there
right.
is a no-fee ID offered by the Department of Motor Vehicles. NCDMV is also offering a no-fee ID, and I would assume that that ID could be used for voting and other purposes because it is an ID issued by the DMV. Now, our ID does not have the information that the DMV ID would have. Our ID just has your picture, your voter registration number, and an expiration date on it. That is it. There's no address information or anything else on it.
there's an expiration date, Jackie?
There is a 10-year expiration date.
Okay, that was what my question would be. All right, are there any other questions or anything from the board to staff? Okay, we have some work to do in a closed session, and I'd like to have a motion that we adjourn from here and we'll reconvene in closed session.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Elections adjourn to reconvene in closed session to discuss personnel issues pursuant to General Statute 143.18.11.
All right, it's been moved okay, thank you, Ken. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn from the public meeting and reconvene in a closed session to discuss personnel matters. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, nay. Okay, so the meeting is in here is adjourned, and sorry for our friends who came. All right, we've just are reconvening from our closed session. I'd like to call this meeting here to order. Are there any other items of business that anyone wants to take?
I think you need to state what you did.
Yeah, well, we were in closed session to discuss personnel matters per the general statute of North Carolina elections law. Anyone have any other comments or business? All right, then I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Our next meeting is what date? I don't have it prepared. It's the third Tuesday of September.
The 19th,
The 19th, is that what it is?
9/19.
Okay, so our next meeting is Tuesday, September 19th, and hope to see you then. All right.
I think you need to state that precinct official appointments were made.
Okay. All right, yeah, so that, in the closed session, our precinct official appointments were made for the upcoming two-year term. All right? All right, this meeting is adjourned.